morning, everyone. My name is Mike Rosa. I'm with the Dallas Regional Chamber, and I love charts and statistics too, and nice big bold graphs that are easy to read. Well done. 2060 does seem like a long, long time ago until I realized that 1980 seems like yesterday. So I'm a little bit worried about how fast time flies. I've got a story to share with you. It's a story of growth. It's also a story of opportunity that I see for the Hispanic and Latino community. And I'll go very, very quickly, and I'll get us back on time. The growth of the Dallas-Fort Worth region has been incredible. Ever since Dallas-Fort Worth Airport opened in 1974, this region has opened up to the world, to the nation. We've experienced robust growth. And in a few years, we'll probably catch up to Chicago. And right now, for the region as a whole, Dallas County, of course, 40% as a region as a whole, Dallas-Fort Worth, 30% population Hispanic or Latino. So it's incredible growth. When we look at the last 10 years, the growth story is the same for Dallas-Fort Worth. There's Houston closely behind. We've advanced over the last 20 or 30 years from the bottom of the top 10 list to the top. Dallas-Fort Worth and Houston have. Austin, if we went down to smaller regions, Austin, San Antonio would be there as well. So no matter how the growth is cut, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Texas, the South Central U.S. has been very, very, very prominent. And we've experienced incredible growth just in the last year. We've gained more people than any other metropolitan area in the country. And of course, we are the fourth largest market in the United States. We'll talk a little bit about the pandemic. The Dallas-Fort Worth area has done better than any other metropolitan area in the country through the pandemic. We see it. Those of you that are based here see it, and you feel it, and you know it. Here's some data around that. We are back to 104% of the jobs that we had prior to the pandemic, just before we went into the pandemic. Atlanta, Phoenix are catching up. Some of the other markets in the country, a little bit bigger, a little bit more struggles, also doing a little bit better job of catching up. In the last 3 years, so this is 2 years of pandemic, and then the 1 year leading into the pandemic, the total job change in Dallas-Fort Worth, you'd have to add Phoenix, Atlanta, and Houston together, and you still don't get the job growth in the last 3 years in Dallas-Fort Worth. It's an incredible story of success and diversity and strength. Here are the sectors, the kinds of jobs that have done the best. Okay, what is powering this regional economy over the last 3 years? And I dare say that I'm focused on the Dallas-Fort Worth region, but this theme is not very different if we were to expand it to the state of Texas, and it probably even carries through to the United States. Professional and business services, trade, transportation, and utilities, all those deliveries at the doorsteps. Financial activities, banking and other things, education, healthcare, information technology, and you can see some of the other sectors that have driven that 259,000 job growth in the last 3 years. And now I want to do some what if with you, because there is inequity in this job growth. Okay. The Hispanic Latino population comprises about 27% of the Dallas-Fort Worth area workforce. So let's take a look at those top 5 booming, bustling sectors in this region. The first one was professional and business services. So right now in this region alone, there are 323,000 jobs in the sector. And 52,000, or 16%, are held by Hispanic and Latino. And then in 4 years, in 2026, there'll be 364,000 jobs. And if we carry that same share of jobs for Hispanic or Latinos, it's 58,000 jobs. That's a gain of 6,000 jobs. But what if, through education and all sorts of other efforts, the Hispanic and Latino community represented its fair share of jobs in this sector, 27%. That's a potential of 40,000 jobs for the Hispanic and Latino community just in this region, in this sector, which is a high-paying, high-growth sector. It takes education to get there. Let's look at the next sector. And now you've sort of got the theme down. You know what we're doing here. Trade, transportation, and utilities, 451,000 jobs right now in just DFW, 113,000 jobs held by Hispanics or Latinos. There'll be some growth to 2026, but what if, instead of 25% of the job force, it was 27%, the fair share for Latinos and Hispanics? That'd be an increase of 9,000 jobs in this sector. Financial activities, NDFW, 260,000 jobs. Right now, 52,000 held by Hispanic or Latino community. There'll be some growth, but what if? Instead of 20%, it was 27% through education and other means. That's 20,000 jobs, new jobs in the next 4 years for Hispanics and Latinos in this region, higher paying, more powerful jobs, generation building, family building jobs. Education and healthcare services, and by now you know the pattern that I'm going with to inspire you for the rest of the day. 32,000 jobs potential for the Hispanic and Latino community, and then we'll do just 5 this morning, but we could go through all of them. The information and technology sector, a potential, again, at a fair share, at an equitable job distribution of 8,000 more jobs in IT, and we all know how much IT jobs pay and how important they are. I've just shared with you in a couple of minutes over 100,000 jobs for the Hispanic and Latino community that could be accomplished in the next 4 years, given a fair share of distribution of those jobs. Okay? It takes education, it takes work to get there, but we can get there. So I hope that inspires you and gets you thinking about it in a little bit of a different way. I work for the Dallas Regional Chamber. One of my jobs is to help companies come here, to create those jobs, to bring those companies from California and other places here so that our people have jobs, have those jobs to get into. Here's what we're seeing. The big blue bar in the center, gray, light blue, and dark blue, it's a number of manufacturing projects we're working with right now to try to entice them to come and create jobs. And we've got corporate office jobs and headquarters jobs and logistics jobs and all sorts of other kinds of jobs. We've got 113 companies just working with us. And there are more than that. These are just the ones working with us to land here and create those jobs. These are the types of jobs we'll see coming in the next couple of years. And a little bit more detail on the things we're seeing. And I'll have you focus on the bottom where I describe more specifics around some of the types of companies that are looking to come to Dallas-Fort Worth. And why I share this with you is because it is predictive of the kinds of talent, the kinds of things our colleges and our universities and our high schools and dare I say even our junior high schools and middle schools should be focusing on to train our kids and Texas kids and kids across the U.S. to be able to receive these jobs. These are the kinds of companies that are coming. Are we going to be ready in the Hispanic and Latino community to take advantage of these jobs? How about tech jobs? How about manufacturing jobs? Dallas-Fort Worth is the largest center of technology in the state of Texas. A lot of people think it's Austin, and Austin is very powerful in tech. But in sheer numbers, it's Dallas-Fort Worth. Same for manufacturing. We're often thought of as a corporate headquarters kind of place. We're in a magnificent corporate headquarters right now this morning, but we're very, very powerful in manufacturing. We will see these kinds of companies and these kinds of jobs come in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years. We've got to be ready. This slide, the numbers got a little bit jumbled. Sorry about that. But again, for the Fort Worth area, the types of companies that are likely to come across the top: transportation equipment, construction, energy, fabricated metals, a lot of manufacturing. And in the Dallas metropolitan area, these are the kinds of companies we're going to see coming because these are our job concentrations right now. Companies follow the talent. So forget the numbers for a second. Just look at the types of companies and jobs. Are we ready in our region? Is the Hispanic and Latino community ready? Are our education forces rallying around this? Because if we do that and put more effort into it, we can get up to that fair share of jobs and we create a lot of wealth and strength in the Hispanic and Latino community and for the region as a whole. And then my last slide is this one. It's from Ray Perryman, the noted economist in Texas. This is just Dallas-Fort Worth in the next 5 years. It's hard to believe these numbers. They're just growth. 615,000 people, 439,000 jobs, $100 billion in regional output, and then tremendous growth in retail sales. Look at the opportunity. There's no better place in the world to be Hispanic or Latino than Dallas-Fort Worth for the opportunity. If we rally around it and create the institutions and work hard to help the achievement get stronger than it is today, then there'll be lots of opportunity. So that's my presentation. Thank you for your attention.